Welcome back to Cottage Designs by Erin, where today we are going to be talking about how to upcycle old linens. I did a video about this below and it went over well, but I was having technical difficulties the day I made it. I was having lighting issues and my phone kept trying to die. So the video was difficult to see. So we're going to do a round two. On the wall behind me is a beautiful quilt I'm making for Valentine's Day. And this is called Curved Piecing. The name of the quilt is Sing Red. I have a video below on how to make this. The name of the video is Curved Piecing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is how do we find the linens. Okay, I found this at a yard sale, and the people had, let me zoom in on that. Isn't that beautiful? The people had a multitude of junk at this yard sale. And the lady said, honey, is there anything I can help you find? And I said, oh no, I'll know it when I see it. So I see this. And I said, how much would you charge me for this? She said, honey, are you kidding me? She said, you can have that for free. She said, what are you going to do with that? I said, I'm going to cut it up and repurpose it. Well, she said, suit yourself, you can have it. So I went ahead and took it. So as we can see, this is in bad shape. We've got a stain, obvious huge hole over here, discoloration, but look at the main part of this. Look at that detail. Isn't that beautiful? So I think it's a huge disservice to throw away old linens just because they have some imperfections. So instead, I'm going to show you how you can upcycle them or recycle them into a new project. So the first thing you want to do is scour around for your linens. I go to Goodwill, the Mission, yard sales, any kind of thrift shop, and find them there. Then I bring them home and I wash them in Tide, and I throw in a cup of white vinegar, and this is a secret, I also throw in a scoop of Molly Suds. Molly Suds is a whitener, and it's a washing powder. And I buy this on, oh my gosh, it's leaving me, grove.com, or you can also probably buy it on Amazon. It is a wonderful whitening tool. So they also make one with, this is for whites, they also make one for coloreds. So you throw that in your laundry. All right, so now I'm going to move the camera to my hands now, and we're going to get started on this project. Okay, so I have slightly pressed this. It's not perfect, but it'll do. I'm going to cut off the bad part. Now you're saying, how do you know how much to cut off? I don't, okay? I just try to get the worst bit out of the way. Make sure we don't cut the kitty's ears off. All right, so we're already looking better already. Here's one that I cut. A lot of times I just go through and I wash a big bunch of linens and I cut them apart, and then I just bag them up until another day when I want to use them. This is how my entire shop, Cottage Designs by Erin, got started. I bought this table runner, and it was wadded up in a ball on the floor of a thrift shop. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love that. Look how beautiful that is. And I'm very fond of the color pink anyway. So I brought it home and I made a pillow, and that pillow sold for almost $50. I could not believe it. I thought, who would pay $50 for a pillow? But somebody did. And so then I started making a ton of pillows out of old cut up linens, but then and I was doing really well at that, but then postage went up and it became as expensive to mail them as it, you know, or even more so sometimes than to make them. And so I quit making them at that point. But now I just make them for gifts for friends and family, and I like them for myself. Okay, so this is a beautiful piece of actual vintage, probably 1940s gingham. Look at this, it's yarn dyed. Yeah, yarn dyed all the way through on both sides is wonderful. So we're going to take that and we're going to lay it down here. I'm going to put a Kitty Cat on top. Okay, the idea behind these is the embroidery serves as an envelope pillow. If you remember those from the 90s, they had a little flap on the top, and that was the look back then. And I thought, well, why can't you just save these linens by cutting off the good part and making an envelope pillow out of it? Excuse me. So that's what we're going to do. So we are going to now see how much we have here. Most pillows are 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24 inches. Okay, you can make it as big as you want. So I have an 18-inch ruler here. I really think we could get by with 16 inches, which is this big buffalo check right here. So I'm going to lightly mark that. Okay, so we're going to cut across that first. Now you can be asking, why are you making a square pillow? Why don't you make a round pillow? You can make a round pillow. Get a dinner plate, a round dinner plate, or a lid to a pot. Trace around your design and make a round pillow if you want to, okay? But this particular design is so square that it just makes sense to go with the square pillow. All right, now I'm going to cut our little seam on this side. All right, now we want it even. So there's two inches on that side. Now we need 2 inches on this side. I see a little stain here, so that's going to have to go in the back. So let's turn it. We're going to cut off the excess. Put that in the scrap box. All right, now I'm still not happy with it. It still feels too big to me. So I'm going to cut it down some more. And we're not using a pillow form on this, so it doesn't matter what size you make it because you're going to hand stuff it. Okay? All right. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's see what size it is. It is about 13 long, and we've got a little more than 18 wide. Okay, now I feel like it's too wide, so let's see. Let's cut it down to 1.5 inches on either side. I mean, you're just getting it to where a size you feel comfortable with. This is going to go on my couch, so I don't want it to be super enormous. It's not a floor pillow. It's not a bed pillow. By cutting it down somewhere else, will cut that stain off, which I don't know if you can see it or not, but there was a yellow stain on this side. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start sewing it together. We could press it, but it's going to get wrinkled anyway when we turn it inside out. So I'm just going to take it apart. Let's pin down our kitty cat. Okay, now you have a decision here to make. You can leave this floppy if you want to, or you can sew it down. I typically sew mine down, just so that way then if you have to wash it, you usually spot clean these. But if you sew it in place, you could wash it without it coming apart. All right, now then we got our other piece. Let me get my sewing machine up here. Switch over to white thread instead of pink. I've been sewing a lot of Valentine's Day doll dresses right now, and Easter. It'll be non-stop from now till well, really probably the 4th of July, and then you start making Halloween clothes at that point. So sewing doll clothes is an ongoing endeavor. Okay, so we're good to go now. I'm going to get adjusted a little bit here. I'm going to sew the edge down. And I mean, there's no instructions here. You can do whatever you want. We could sew down this hem stitch. We could sew on the inside, sew on the outside, sew a straight stitch, sew a zigzag. Whatever it is you want to do. I'm going to sew a zigzag stitch on the outside edge. I should say too that you can ask quite a bit of money for these pillows online, simply because this is a unique, one-of-a-kind item. You're not ever going to find this exact embroidery ever again because it was handmade. This fabric has an interesting feel to it. With the cat is on, it feels like toweling, like you dry your hands on. But it was a table runner, so I don't know what they made it out of. All right. So now we've got our kitty all sewn into place. I feel better about that because now when I sew it, it can't shift around. So this is what we have so far. So now we are going to put our back on the front and we're going to sew around it just like you do a regular pillow. Let me check and see if our gingham is lining up. No, I got it backwards. There, now see how our buffalo plaids line up there? That's what you want. So now I'm going to go around and pin this in place. We're not cut evenly on the bottom. That'll be a problem. Okay, so now you're going to start at the bottom of the pillow. Why don't you start at the top? Why are you starting at the bottom? Because you have to leave this open on the bottom to stuff it. You need hands with room to be able to get your hand in there once you flip it inside out to stuff it. So I have little hands. Thank you, God, for that, because it's helpful. Okay, so we're going to leave this section open for stuffing. So we're going to start at the pin and we're going to go all the way around the pillow and then flip it inside out, and then you can see what we have. And you can go a ½ inch around on this if you want to, whatever you want to do. You can use a 1/4 inch, same. I'm just going to use 1/4 inch because I don't want to have to think. So I'm going to go back to straight stitch first. I'm going to take a couple stitches and then I'm going to back stitch, because when you put your hand in here, you don't want to pop your stitches out. You don't want to rip them. Now I brought it in a little bit because I can feel on the back that my fabric is not even. I'm using the pink line as a guide. Now, let me turn it and then I'll tell you. It's very important when you get to the top of this that everything is cut. The front, the embroidery, and the back. I guess this is what you call the shabby chic look. I don't know if that style is still even in or not. I like it. For those of you in the UK, you're my greatest followers, and I just bought some Kath Kidston wallpaper from the United Kingdom. It's wonderful. This goes along with that look with the aqua, red, pink. Beautiful. Okay, again, we're going to back stitch so we don't rip our stitches out when our hand goes in. Okay, so we're done with that. We're going to take out our pins. Now you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut off your little corners here at an angle. And that's just so when you stuff them, it'll be nice and neat. All right, now we're going to flip this inside out. Well, might help if I get on the right end, right? Uh-oh, big hole. Try that again. So you gotta love doing stuff live on camera because this is always what happens. Invariably. Now we've come and threaded. Okay, let's try this again. Poke out our corners. All right. So here's our pretty little kitty pillow. Turn into our edges. So here's what I would do next. You would stuff it and then sew the seam shut. And then I would put 2 big bubblegum pink buttons on either end of this and maybe at the top. And it's done. And you can put a bow on it. Okay, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to briefly go over the steps again. Buy your linens. Bring them home and wash them in a solution of laundry detergent, 1 cup white vinegar, and if you have it, Molly Suds. If you don't have Molly Suds, you can throw some baking soda in with it to freshen any odors and remove any stains. Cut off the good part. Lay it down on your fabric. Decide how big you want the pillow to be. And then sew the embroidery down to the material. Put the back on the front, sew all the way around it, and then flip it inside out, stuff it, and sew it shut. And if you don't know how to hand sew something shut, you can look on either one of the last 2 videos, which is how to make shabby chic videos, or for heaven's sakes, shabby chic pillows, or how to upcycle old linens. Those are in my video list below. And that'll show you everything you need to do to finish it. Okay? Thank you for watching. Stop back by for more videos in the future. And remember, if you're interested in making this quilt, it is in my video list below, and it's called curved piecing. Thank you.